Hello everybody, and welcome to AmateurCast, where we're getting you and your replays to be casted for my entertainment, and hopefully to help you improve a little bit as well. I'm your host, ZookaMan, and we're going to be going into a TVT. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our players. Now, one thing here I want to mention before we get into too much of the cast here. For one, hey, I'm back. I'm doing a replay cast for my YouTube. And to kind of explain a little bit why the delay was going on, I, one, was very dissatisfied, with my quality of my sound from my microphone on my headset. So I went ahead and I purchased a external microphone, which is what I'm using right now. Now, as a little bit of a disclaimer, I haven't done a whole lot of debugging with it. I've got it set up. I've done a little bit of settings-wise, but this is going to be probably a little bit rough as far as the sound quality is concerned until we kind of get used to it and know how it works and stuff. So hopefully this doesn't take 2 or 3 takes to get completely right the way I want with sound quality, or at least the sound volume and all that fun stuff. So hopefully it works out well. I'm hoping it works well. I don't have to do a couple more takes of this before I finally upload it. So, that all being set aside, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our players. In the top left-hand side, that's actually the top right, excuse me, we're going to be seeing Platties, ImbaEz, he's going to be a red Terran player, and in the bottom we're going to be seeing our blue Terran player, our submitter for this replay. He's going to be pretty darn cool. He's CoolTech. He's going to be the blue Terran. Now, examining the TVT matchup, guys, here a little bit before we get too far into this game, considering that there's not really a whole lot going on because it is early game. What's happening in TVT right now? Well, TVT is kind of a weird matchup. It's very versatile. It's, in my opinion, one of the most stable mirror matchups right now. That doesn't necessarily mean it's that stable. It's actually pretty up and down comparatively to what you do. I believe, I'm almost positive it's a bio match. You see a lot of things like Reaper first, like we're seeing here with the Reaper expand. I have seen Reactor first as well. But it looks like we're just going to be going a Reaper to get a little extra scouting out, and that's not too bad of a plan. Back home from CoolTech, he's going to be dropping down a factory. So we're probably going to be seeing higher tech coming out from him. This is probably, in my opinion, most likely Widow Mines as opposed to anything else. I think Widow Mines are probably the most likely at this point. Tanks are way too early. He could be going, I guess, into a 1-1-1 with a Hellions and Widow Mines into a draw play or something like that. So it could be that. We'll have to kind of keep an eye on it, see what's going on. We do have the Reaper coming in the main base for blue. We're going to have a Reaper versus Reaper fight. I think they're going to kill each other. Oh, no. Red is going to win first. That is actually pretty impressive. About 4 health right now. And he's going to get shot down by this next Reaper. CoolTech is up on 2 Reapers. He's going to be moving up into Hellion Tech. Alright, yeah, I can do that. Hellion Tech is nice. It's very good early game against Bio. Always good to see that happening. Now, looking over our red Terran player, he's going to be moving up into a CC first following this up. He also, of course, has a factory on its way, so he's probably going to go up into Hellions as well, but he's going to have it a little bit behind his opponent, which might come into a little bit of effect here as these units are starting to move out. CCs are about at the same time. Red is going to be a little bit earlier, but really at the end of the day it's not going to mean too much. Now right now it doesn't look like either one of our players are looking to be heavily investing into any sort of mechanical play. But of course, seeing a Reaper come up in here is going to get shot down straight away by that Marine, that hero Marine that everyone loves. He's the track star. He's the guy in high school that nobody will leave alone. We're going to be following up here with tank production from CoolTech into his starport. And I feel like this is a little bit early for tank production. Normally you're going to be seeing it a little bit more delayed with an earlier CC, as you're going to be wanting to go for more Marines into bunkers, as opposed to the large number of siege tanks off of that one base. It's a little bit more difficult to defend against stuff like the drops, if you have that more higher siege tank production as opposed to your Marine production, or you're just your bio in general. CC is going to be coming up here from Imba. He's going to be floating that on down just a little bit. Blue is just going to be finishing up his main base. He's going to turn that into an orbital. So he'll have a couple of extra seconds here in his mining time. Let's take a look. Ooh, wrong one. Taking a look over at our worker supply, we do have an even amount between these two players, so neither one is really too far ahead of the other as far as the economy goes, which is always going to be good to see from them. We're going to be seeing a Banshee opening here, going to go for Cloak. Banshee on its way. That is going to be scanned, so CoolTech does know that this is coming on. He's going to be going for his stim pack back home. He's going to have quite a bit of early defense here. Would love to see a missile turret. There we go. Missile turret's coming up, so he's going to be well defended against this Banshee opening. And our red player is going to be a little bit behind. Not always a good thing for him, but hey, maybe he can get a couple of SEVs at the natural expansion, or maybe he'll just be able to pick off a couple of SEs here and there. And every little bit helps in a mirror matchup where macro is a very big key in winning a game. Now, of course, we're going to be seeing the engineering bay on the field. It's going to be going for a +1, so ImbaEz going to have a little bit of an earlier upgrade advantage. Of course, he's still not going to be able to get the damage done with the Banshee, so it's kind of a pick your poison sort of thing. CoolTech is going to be going up into a fusion core now, so we are going to be seeing battle cruisers, and you know what? I love battle cruisers. Battle cruisers are such a fun unit to see, especially in low levels when your opponent doesn't really know what they're doing. You have battle cruisers, and it's like, oh my gosh, I must be some sort of god. We kind of see a couple Marines coming up to this watchtower, keeping track of that. I would like to see if CoolTech is wanting to keep going up into this battlecruiser route, has a Raven on the way. He's going to start getting a little bit gas-starved. So a third base would be a great addition for him right now so that he can keep up on that. Banshee is out on the field. It did get one kill, but not really going to be able to do as much damage as Imbo really needed it to, really wanted it to. Stim is just going to be finishing up for both of our players right about now. Looking over to our worker supply, CoolTech is going to start to have a little bit of advantage here. And he's keeping up on a constant production of SCVs, which is always a very admirable thing. I know I myself, as a gold player, do struggle with that. I oftentimes will go for earlier economy and then cut probes, but constantly linking probes is something that you always love to see in low levels. Banshee's going to be pushing back in. It's going to run straight into a missile turret and a Viking, so that's not really going to be very healthy for it. It's going to go down like that. No gas yet from Imba. I believe we have gas over here from CoolTech. Yes, we do, which is going to be very much attributed to that battlecruiser play. Two are on their way, so we're going to be seeing battlecruisers enter the field in just a little bit here, which is going to kind of turn the tides, considering that we don't see a whole lot of anti-air on the ground from Imba. Most of his units are Marines, and while Marines are not necessarily a bad unit, they're not the best unit against battlecruisers. We're going to be seeing the Vikings going to be macroing back and forth, but they are going to end up killing each other nonetheless. Starport is going to be going for a Banshee here from Imba. Maybe this is early game detection, or maybe he's wanting to move up into a little bit more mech. Not too bad of a thing there. We're going to be seeing him grab his double gases. So yeah, probably going to be seeing more mechanical units added into this army, more upgrades, all of that kind of good stuff that you always want to have. CoolTech definitely is going to be going for a third CC here, which is very good. I like grabbing CCs, especially when you're very high in minerals. It's going to help him out with his gas production if he decides to move it out to take an additional base. Expansions are super helpful if you're able to get them off, because more gas production, more minerals production. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? +1 armor is on his way from our red player. We do, of course, have combat shields on the way. I just want to take a real quick look here at our upgrades. Looks like a red player is going to have that advantage. So the battlecruisers might have a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to fights if the Marines are up on 1-1 or even 2-2, to be perfectly honest. Third CC is up and finished. I would love to see that fly off fairly shortly here, as I've been kind of saying for the past couple minutes. Always good to have more income. An additional factory is going to be coming up from Imba, so he's going to start moving up into more mechanical units. We're probably going to be seeing things like siege tanks. We're going to be maybe Widow Mines, maybe Hellions. Though judging by the tech lab, it might even be Thors, which would be kind of a good little bit of a reaction against battlecruisers. Taking a little quick look at our vision, we don't really have a whole lot of vision from our red player, and actually looking at our blue player, I think he has a little bit more vision, but neither one of these players has really recent vision of what his opponent is doing. I'd love to see a couple scans come out, because at this point in the game, you're not going to be relying on your mules as much, and scanning and scouting for certain things is always a good thing, especially with this amount of turrets. It's a little bit difficult to get anything else in there. We do have the weapon refit, which is going to be the Yamato cannon coming out from our battlecruisers here. So they're going to be able to pew giant lasers that hit a lot of units, and they're very, very powerful. For those of you who don't know, AoE is not the best, but they're able to do a lot of damage to the single target. Blue isn't going to lose a lot of Marines here. I see these Marines over here at the Watchtower. Of course, that upgrade advantage is going to come into his favor. We do, of course, have that one plating on its way to help out the battlecruisers. Maybe we'll see the one attack, as he does have the gas to be able to do that. Third bases are being established from both of our players right about now, which is always good. A little bit late for a super macro game like we are seeing here, but sometimes it happens to end up where we don't feel very comfortable taking our expansion. I think Terran in general is a little bit more anxious about taking expansions because Protoss and Zerg, yeah, by the time you're in Gold or Platinum League, you usually have a good handle about when you should expand from them. But Terran is always kind of an awkward position because while Protoss and Zerg should be expanding a lot of the time, Terran doesn't always have to, especially in low games when you're being super aggressive, keeping your opponent off of the third base in PBT, for example. But in this matchup, both players are going to be playing macro. We're going to be seeing a fourth base drop down here from CoolTech, taking up a little bit of advantage as far as that is concerned, realizing that maybe we need a little bit more gas here, and more gas is going to be a great help. That +1 vehicles and ship weapons is on its way. Where are the battlecruisers? They're somewhere around here. I'm going to cheat here. There we go. Battlecruisers are going to be all clumping down over here at this natural expansion. We're going to have more and more of those added on. I believe we might have scouted that from that scan of Imba. He's going to be going for a large number of units for a drop play and is going to be deciding to move out to the front of the natural probably, or maybe even the third base, push in, get that drop delay done. And I actually love double prong attacks. They're really, really helpful, but in this circumstance, we're going to lose a couple of turrets, a couple of medevacs, to these turrets here, and he's going to kind of give away these position, which is going to make things a little bit more awkward when this drop does come out, especially considering now, oh, hey, this guy's got battle cruisers. Shucks? We're going to be seeing a lot of units dying here, blood splattered on the ground, nice and beautiful if you're into that kind of stuff. Imba going to be having units over here by the goal base. Looks like he's going to be pushing into the third. Does not have medevacs over this army because he just used all of them for the drop play. Looks like we're going to be seeing our blue Terran player moving out as well. And we might see this third base go down. That would be a little bit unfortunate here from CoolTech because he does need all of the resources that he can possibly get right now. Gas and minerals. He's doing actually a pretty good job of spending. Imba's going to decide to go for this fourth base here, it looks like. Oh no, it looks like he's going to fall back. And CoolTech is just deciding, you know, I could defend, but hey, let's move out. Let's get a bit of damage done, see what we can do. CoolTech is going to be running right on in there. Going to be going for a large number of units. Yamato cannons. And that's pretty much going to end that engagement straight upwards. CoolTech. I love the battlecruisers. What I would suggest as far as the composition is, I would say add in a couple of more Ravens, because Ravens are just so good, especially when they're added on with seeker missiles, added on with Yamato cannons. Marines are going to be attempting to take out these battlecruisers, but they're not going to be focusing any of them down, and it's going to be a little bit awkward as they all kind of just burn to death. CoolTech is going to be having a really big advantage here. He did lose his third base, but he's going to pretty much clear out entirety of Imba's army, take out that natural expansion, and that's going to delay a lot of economy as well as forcing out more units. And I'm not sure that there's much that Imba can do right now. He just doesn't have the units to be able to produce against CoolTech right now. And right now he would need Thors, he would need honestly, I'd say the best reaction to Air Mech is going for Air Mech yourself. But in a pinch, Thors definitely are a good choice as well. Now, as I do for all my amateur casts, I'm going to take a quick second here, guys, to go over what these players could have done better as a whole. We're going to start with a Red Terran player who is going to be up on the chopping block first, so to speak. The big thing for him, and to a certain extent for a blue player as well, was the lack of scouting. Now, CoolTech was able to get away with the battlecruisers and be able to kind of blindside Imba because he didn't have scouting. And as I mentioned, like about halfway through the cast, there does get a point when you're going up on a 3 base, 4 base, where it starts becoming less about your muling capabilities and more about your scannings, at least as far as the low levels are concerned. High levels is a little bit more important because when you lose engagements, you want to mule down and get a little bit of extra income. But in this circumstance, I would definitely have preferred the scans. And I think that a good rule of thumb is always scan over muling because it is better to know what your opponent is doing than having that little bit of extra income. I think that's the biggest thing that was wrong with him, but he also didn't spend as well, but that is a little bit of effect of the fact that Bio is a little bit more difficult to spend with than Mech, especially battlecruiser-centered army. Now, CoolTech, looking at him, he did a good job spending, he did a good job expanding, he did a nice, decent composition. What I'd say the big thing that he could use to improve at the very least his composition, definitely add in more Ravens. I love the expansions, they could come up a little bit earlier. Definitely, Mech is less aggressive than Bio, so that's also another point over to Imba. He could probably have been more aggressive and kept his opponent from being able to get all of those units. Because once a Terran army gets up to this kind of area, especially when they have a nice, decent amount of Ravens, which CoolTech doesn't technically have, but if he did, it's very difficult for Bio to be able to hold on against that. And at that point, if you are not able to do drop play and go around because of turrets and everything, it's much better to just transition into air mech yourself and try to outbeat your opponent on their own game, so to speak. So, alright, folks, that is going to be everything for this cast. I believe that's all that I wanted to say. Thank you all for joining me. If you would like to get your game cast next, you can send a replay on over to ZookaMan900@gmail.com, or alternatively, if you would like a game casted and you'd like me or another caster to cast it, you can head on over to the Reddit subreddit, cast it. I'm going to put both of those in the link below, in the description below, so you guys can just follow those through. That's a great place for finding casters that you enjoy, for getting your games casted as fast as possible. I know we have at least 3 or 4 big active casters on there right now that are able to get your games casted if you want it casted and I'm not able to do it. Wow, I'm surprised at how much I've said casted or casted in this little bit here. Anyways, folks, this has been ZookaMan. I hope you enjoyed. This has been ZookaMan, and we'll see you on the next cast. Take care, guys.